Hey everyone, before I get started, I just want to remind you that if you like my content, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and then join the Militiaman and Crew Patreon community by clicking the link in the caption. Hey, good evening everybody. Hey, it's Militiaman and Crew, and we're here to throw out some good stuff, man. We have some really awesome things that have been happening lately. I think if everybody realizes that al-Sudani has been in Washington, D.C., and he had a motorcade that came out, which was, wow, it was an entourage. It was really fascinating. So he was welcome to the United States of America. And why? Well, we have the strategic framework agreement that they have. They probably have signed it. I think they probably did that today. I'm not really sure 100% because they don't quite say it that way. But the bottom line is that he shows up. They have, many, many cars of people, motorcade, making him feel comfortable, well presented. And what's he going to do while he's here? He's going to meet with some of the largest companies in the United States of America. He's going to meet with his own Iraqi people, his own Iraqi businessmen. He's going to meet with all those people if he hasn't already today and into tomorrow. So we're going to see how well this plays out. The strategic framework agreement, if that's been taken care of, is going to be a big deal because, well, it's actually it's not like the DFI situation, but it is a moving item. It's an evolutionary item. The strategic framework agreement can be and is going to be a work in progress, because it is about security. It has been about security, but it's also about many other things, and that is going to be going into the future. Iraq is going to a market economy, or the private sector, if you will, and what their focus is on in this new agreement is security is being an advisory situation, whereas the economic portion is going to be into the private sector situation. And so it's about business. So what are they doing? Al-Sudani showed up into the United States of America, and they're going to be doing contracts for what? All kinds of different businesses. We already know that there's a few that are in writing. Specifically, we have GE, we have McKesson, pharmaceutical company, we have Honeywell. We're talking billions of dollars of companies, some of the largest in the world, or at least in the United States, etc. But we have hundreds on the table. They're going to have all these meetings because the United States is what it says in what they have said to be stated as for the SFA agreement is a partnership. Iraq has a partnership with the United States of America. There's a lot of things that come with that because that's going to bring out other things around the world. The BRICS, for instance, they're going to be a little nervous. They're going to be a little scared. They want to showcase. They want to come in. Are they going to be around tomorrow? Are they going to be in New York or in the United States? They probably are. Why? Because everybody in the globe at this stage of the game, because remember, Iraq is going to showcase, and it has been said, and I've reiterated this numerous times, they're going to be what? The effective savior of the international financial system. So why wouldn't BRICS show up? Their currencies aren't so hot, are they? They might be gold backed, etc. But does any one of the BRICS nations have 8,133.5 tons of gold or more or less? Real close? Do they even have close to that? I don't think anybody can answer that question, but other than no. So look, is the United States dollar going to crash tomorrow? Are we waiting for the dollar crash tomorrow? A lot of people say that that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for the dollar to crash. I don't see it that way. So, and the reason being is because, you know what, the United States is resilient. We have lots of different things. We have one of the strongest economies in the world. Even under the circumstances, even with this massive inflation that we're seeing, we still do have a dynamic. And interestingly enough, if you go back far enough in time, you'll know that the world realizes the United States is somewhat of a beacon of security, and that's still today the same. So if it hasn't changed, does it mean it's going to change overnight? I don't think so. But the cool part is that al-Sudani had a motorcade that showcased him. He wasn't snubbed on the White House lawn. He was not, that did not happen to him like it did Haider al-Abadi. Okay? So this is a totally different situation. The things that we're seeing today aren't what you were involved in 20 years ago. So all the blah blahs that happen to be like, I've heard this before, it's just old news. You've never seen anything like what we've seen today, ever. And so embrace it, enjoy it, because it's really awesome to see that we're witnessing history in the making. So that even in the Israel situation, and I don't get involved in this, but I'll be honest with you, this little incident that we just saw the other day, it was a nothing burger. I mean, you got drones flying 100 miles an hour that were being, taken out. What was the real impact of that? Why was it? Was it optics? I would say yeah. But anyway, that's not what I'm here for, and I'll move on from it. Look, the economy in America will be activated on a large scale for the first time. I meant to say scale, but look, Sudanese visit, al-Sudani, they always say Sudanese, Sudani, they use so many different verbs. The economy in America will be activated on a large scale for the first time. This is pretty big thing because of the nature of what's going on. What they're seeing today is positive developments, especially with the relationships between Iraq and the United States. They're turning the page to open up a page that is directed on what? Economics. Iraq and the United States, aside from their strategic framework agreement as being a security issue, is going to be now more towards a security advisory position to a economic situation. I mean, that's really what they're coming down to. They're saying that their relations are going to be productive in investment opportunities. They're talking about their first priority that will precede other priorities, including the establishment of solid banking relations. So we know that they've had some problems with their banking situations. So we've had banks that were sanctioned, etc. So they're going to be moving towards resolving that problem. They're talking about growth and prosperity. They're talking about the banking reform and policies that are in place today, how the country is going to contribute to elements of strength. We all understand that financing, relationships with banks need to be solid, they need to be profound, they need to be in mutual agreements between both countries. It says here that Iraq is linked to the United States through cohesive ties and foundations. The principles of which were outlined in the strategic framework agreement that have been signed since 2008. So all of this is fresh again, but they're going to resolve it. Basically, what we just witnessed, in my view, was a red carpet treatment. The news has been phenomenal. I mean, the motorcade itself shows you a totally different position. Go back and look at what you saw on the White House lawn when Obadi arrived, and look at the difference. You can see a profound difference. I'll just leave it at that because it can get into political stuff, but I'm not going to do that. Not that you guys can't, but I just think it's not necessary, because the bottom line is that what we're seeing today is totally different. How about this? Companies that are complex, well, where are they out of? In Houston, Texas. They include the largest oil and gas and alternative energy companies in the world. So what are they doing? They're talking to Iraq. What is it saying? It says that these sources told the news correspondent that the governor of the central bank, Al-Alaq, okay, so the central bank governors here will be among the limited government delegation that accompanies the prime minister on this visit. He's relieving his position by discussing that the visit to Washington and not before the 20th of next April. Wait a second. So what they're saying, Alaq is being potentially removed from his position from Washington and not before the 20th of next April. So it's like a really sad translation, but is it what they're saying is that his job's going to be over because he's accomplished what he needs to? Because you remember, Al-Awlaq left the central bank and went to the AMF. And then they brought him back for a purpose. Is that what it's saying here? That his position is going to be over by the 20th of April? I'm just spitballing, did not al-Sudani say that he was going to have things taken care of in the month of April? He did. Okay, so this says the sources reveal that the court's opinion under the law indicates that Al-Awlaq's current presence in his position is a legal violation due to his age. So he's getting too old. So I don't know, what is he, 60? I'm not sure. Noting at the same time that the issue of age for Al-Awlaq and Al-Fayyad is similar and takes on one context. I got a feeling that that's just, I don't know. How old do you have to be a central bank governor? Can you be 50, 45? Is there a relationship? Do you have to be 70? I don't know. But anyway, it's gonna be interesting to see if that he places his signature on this, because remember, Al-Awlaq is the one that said that he had bad loans, and he said that he had value on those bad loans. And then al-Sudani has been saying specifically that he has more than one thing on the table. They basically are talking about all the things that they've been doing over the years as far as bringing the currency back to be stronger than the dollar. And they say it again yesterday and today, I believe it was. So let's just keep moving forward. But with the political and popular street, who's the street? Well, it's the citizens. What are they awaiting? They're awaiting results with complete optimism. Well, why shouldn't they? Al-Sudani is going to be talking to who? Iraqi businessmen from all over the world, but yet all he's going to be talking to Iraqis today. He talked with President Biden today. What are they doing? The Strategic Framework Agreement. What do? They're adjusting it for what? Well, advisory position for security and stability. The United States of America has got massive businesses. We've got hundreds of companies on the table right now that are coming into Iraq, and they're going to do business. But what are they going to need? They're going to need security. And the United States has basically said we have advisors, but we're going to protect ourselves. And so that's basically a very, very good thing for us. It says here the visit will witness the holding of the first meeting of the Joint Coordination Committee. So this is the first meeting of the Joint Coordination Committee. So we talked about it yesterday or the day before. The bottom line is that why they have this first meeting is because they've actually done something. They, just like the MCOE, which is the Ministerial Council of Economics with al-Sudani when he first came into office, it was the first meeting. What have they done? They've done numerous 20, 30, 40, who knows how many meetings they've had so far. What are they doing? They're progressing Iraq to have a private sector environment. You have the WTO in the background, the World Bank in the background, IMF in the background, United States Treasury, US Fed in the background at all times. And then you see this, what do you see? You see partnerships. You see them saying that the United States of America and Iraq have partnership. Who was saying that? Al-Sudani is saying that. They have partnerships. So anyway, the region is witnessing a pivotal role that Iraq can play with, and that will make the United States within this role be ready to provide many facilities for it. So in other words, Iraq and the United States are going to be able to be provided, because of the United States, facilities to move progress. So what they're also saying is that we're also anticipating the signing of contracts with major American companies and discussing a number of economic files and ways to bring in foreign investments. So the man's plate's full. He's been knocking it dead. He got here early Saturday as opposed to the 15th. It's really good. So they say that we look forward to a positive results, and they will be reflected on the people of Iraq. That's awesome. So and they go on to say that the transition towards a new phase of relations, especially since the visit, is evidence of a desire of Iraq in building a sustainable strategic partnership based on mutual respect. They go on and they say the files that will be discussed, whether economic, security, or political, must certainly benefit Iraq and have a role in the recovery of the economy and the return of the stability to the dinar price. Gotta love it. Because why? Because the dinar price is going to be a key component to this whole thing. They're talking about a stronger dinar. The dollar is going to decrease. Can you believe that? If you're going to decrease the dollar, Iraq has no control over the dollar's exchange rate on the international market, but they do have a control over their own valuation of their dinar, and that's where this is headed. Okay, the visit of the Prime Minister and his accompanying delegation to the United States is a clear embodiment of the Iraqi government's approach to openness to the international environment and seeking a transition in Iraq's relationship with Washington from the side. It says the only security objective is to activate economic and development files, right? Real partnerships, works to expand frameworks of cooperation with the United States, and especially in all kinds of economic fields. So again, they're just really continually focusing on economics because that's outside the security aspect. Here it says that continuing activation of the provisions of strategic agreement that concern 7 vital and important sectors. I think there's 11, but they say 7 in this particular article, especially since the United States is a strategic partner and we need the relationship with it to be growing and expand. So Iraq is like saying, we've got to take care of these. Maybe out of the 11, they said these 7 are the best or the most influential that we need to take care of. It says that we seek to hope the effects and results of this important visit in the near future in the service of our beloved country. And what did they say? Remember back to the UN Assembly meeting, they said Iraq was going to restore confidence, and then in Davos, they were going to restore confidence. I think that was the headline of Davos. Here it says, restoring confidence to strengthen partnerships with countries of the world. This is almost like a snapshot quote of the Davos meeting, because that was the headlining, restoring confidence. Take that seriously, because this is what they're saying to us. This isn't just me making it up. Not that you think I am, it's just that it is. It's phenomenal that restoring confidence to the world is what they just said. Again, they've reiterated it. It's fascinating. It's all good to read. And don't forget, recall al-Sudani, he's come to America. He came here on good faith back then during the UN Assembly meeting. They didn't allow him to come here because they were productive. They were at 1310, but they came in on good faith. What are we going to do? We're going to do business. You're going to set the stage. And guess what? He didn't come to the White House lawn to get snubbed. He got a full-blown motorcade entourage to help support the fact that this is business, this is real time. And he wasn't just left there on the table. He wasn't there at Holiday Inn, okay? He has showed up and he's doing business with the biggest players in the world. He's going to visit 3 states and he's going to talk to people. He's going to talk to people in the energy industry, the pharmaceutical industry. He's going to do all those things. And if he hasn't already done them, he may do more of them tomorrow. But the truth of the matter is, the President of the United States has welcomed him, has spoke with them. They did about an hour consult. And now we're going to see what the outcome is for the business aspect. What companies are going to be involved. When they say hundreds of companies, I have to say, like, well, okay, I only told you of 3. I'm not going to get into all of them, but the bottom line is, all we can say is that, partnerships are partnerships, man. The United States of America is basically, and it's in writing, that the United States of America and Iraq are basically going to be in a partnership. It says, government advisors believe that the visit of Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani in Washington will inaugurate a new phase in Iraq and American relations. Of course it will. Al-Sudani was able to convince Washington of his relative ability to be trustworthy, okay? A Iraqi party who can reach an understanding. They're going on to say that, you know, there were some thorny issues with Baghdad and Washington, but where are they now? They need to be fair and removed from the regional conflict that's been taking place. So they want to be, of course, we understand the regional conflict, but let's move forward and do what we do the way that we do it. But they're basically seeking to activate the strategic framework agreement that's concerned with the economic reforms. The economic reforms are really going to dominate. And I would say that why would they be dominating? Because of the amount of business that's going to go through the Port of Fa. They're going to go through the Development Road Project, and they're going to go into different countries all the way into Europe. And that's going to be about trade. Turkey, you're going to see that in the next couple of days, next week or so, about many different things. Because Turkey needs the money. Iran needs the money. The region needs the money. Saudi Arabia is going to need the money. Everybody's going to be affected by this road project. So don't think that they're not. So basically, what are they talking about? They're focusing on economics and financial reforms. They're productive partnerships with various countries of the world. So they're just not talking about that region I just mentioned. They're talking about the world. When's that going to take place? Today. They were going to have these things on the table today. They're saying that the holding of the first meeting of the Joint Higher Coordination Committee, we talked about that, the HCC, with the aim of continuing to activate the Strategic Framework Agreement in the access of energy, banking, and financial cooperation, transportation, combating corruption, recovering Iraqi funds, and the business sector, in addition to education and culture. So, I mean, how are you going to deny that they're not moving forward to adjust Iraq from a 1310? They haven't paid their salaries. They haven't started the oil into Turkey yet. They haven't done any of that yet. And why is that? We all know why. It's because that Al-Sudani has said, hold your dinar. He said, hold on to it. What are they going to do? They're going to make it stronger. They're going to just recently, they just said that they're going to decrease the value of the dollar, which doesn't make any sense, does it? How is that Iraq is going to decrease the value of the dollar? The only way that they can do that is that if they increase the value of their currency. Because the United States dollar is the strongest currency in the world. It has, I wouldn't say strongest, but it is the most prolific currency in the world. The volume traded is the largest in the world. So, give me a break, you guys, but the dollar in global markets is huge. It's massive. To move from 0.01 in a day is trillions of dollars traded, whether it's up or down. Okay, so check it out. You guys can do your own research and see how that's to be true. Positive developments, of course. Priorities are include the establishment of a solid banking relations between the two countries. So they're working for that process. I think they have on the table that the sanctioned banks that they're dealing with. They're also talking about the activation of a broad strategic framework agreement in order to be consistent with the data and principles of government programs in a way that serves the interest of stability and economic prosperity in Iraq. Of course that's true, because that's the whole idea. This whole process there's so much information that they're basically talking about getting Iraq to do exactly what we're expecting. Open up to the world in a manner that is in essence, a unification for even their own internal decisions. It's not just about the external. We all want them to do it, but they need to have it on the internal side. And I have to say that that's what they're dealing with. And I think they've already overcome that, which we'll see how it goes. On the other hand, it says Iraq is basically, they have the ability now to be trusted. Why? Because they're doing what al-Sudani is showing us. Are they a trusted Iraqi party now? Absolutely, it looks like that. It says, most notably, the file of the American presence in Iraq and the file of economic sanctions resulting from the relationship with Tehran, currency smuggling, money laundering, security political files, considering there to be indicators that Sudanese government, if it succeeds in finding understandings about it, this will give a strong support that could reflect positively on the stability of Iraq. Well, of course, we saw some things that were happening. I kind of mentioned earlier, and one of the things I just have to say to you guys, I'm not political, I'm not international when it comes to one side or the other. I'm just looking at it in a standpoint is that how is the economics going to treat Iraq, their citizens? And the bottom line is that it looks like al-Sudani is focused in on helping his citizens. Al-Sadr, for instance, al-Sistani, I think they're all for the citizens. And I believe that to be a good thing. And that's not just for one faction or another, that's for the whole country. That's the beautiful part about it, is that because they are a melting pot of themselves. And so that's good, because you have a leader that wants to take help and take charge and help. I don't care who you are in that country. I think he is a leader that's been trying to work with that. Is he focused in on getting business from the United States? Yeah. Is he getting focused in business on in the European, the Asian, or other entities around the world? Of course he is. That's what he is. He's a statesman. Al-Sudani has been proving himself time in and time out. And over the last he came into office in October 2022, and he's been hitting it out of the park ever since. The guy's like amazing. So the visit for al-Sudani has a positive results on the Iraqi reality soon. Of course, they say that we expect the visit of al-Sudani to have positive results on the Iraqi reality, especially since the economic file and the issue of the dollar and sanctions on some Iraqi banks. So there's some people here. Al-Alaq is here in town, United States. And what are they talking about? Banking. And for this visit, we'll work to strengthen the financial and economic situation of Iraq. Al-Sudani is to visit the White House. We already know that he's already done that. What are they seeking to resolve? Financial, economic dimensions. The visit will focus on these two main files. They wanted those two main files, economic and financial. And what else can you say? They have had, they brought about 130 different people with them. I think they said 3 planes worth. So ultimately, you guys, the Prime Minister's visit to Washington is going to be about signing contracts with major companies. They go on to say many things. They don't get into say specifically which ones they're doing, but what are they doing? They're building partnerships, developing the banking sector. They're basically suggesting that there's insurance companies. They've got laws for intellectual property for the advancement of that. They're stressing the necessity of turning the private sector and developing it to help the government speed up work. I mean, they're just basically knocking it out of the park, one after the other. They're basically saying that this is done through transferring technology out of the United States to Iraq and then managing it and investing in the field of transportation, etc. So there's just different points of view that are fascinating because Iraq is opening to the world. Here it says this is that the Kurdish Minister of Parliament, it says the Sudanese success in the dollar crisis is the most important step to his visit in Washington. I'm not sure that if we need to wake up on this one. The representative of the Patriotic Union Kurdistan, Abdul Razak, He's considered that the success of the Prime Minister Shia al-Sudani in addressing the dollar crisis is the most important step if completed with his visit to Washington. Okay, so is this going to invoke al-Alaq? I think it does. The Sudanese success in this file, lifting the ban on Iraqi banks and pumping the dollar naturally, is the most important success for the Sudanese government if it is fully achieved. So the hope is that he pulls this off. They go on to say that the Central Bank of Iraq, led by the governor of the bank, his name al-Alaq, are among the delegation here in the United States. And while the issue of lifting the ban on some banks prohibited from dealing in the dollar in Iraq is on the agenda of the Sudanese visit. Look, I believe that they're going to be needing liquidity. These banks, I think there was between, well, they varied in numbers, 25 to 32 different banks had some problems. Al-Alaq is here to see if he can resolve that. He's going to need those because why? Because the government of Iraq is going to need those companies to be able to have facilitate trade, imports and exports. They're going to need that liquidity. They're going to need it. And he knows that. Are they going to play by the rules and get on board? Are they going to be these banks that may have had some problems? Were they part of issues that were red flagged for money laundering? Were they red flagged for all the other financing of terrorism, for instance? Did they do any of that? Why were they? You guys do your own research and get back to me, because I think it's important. But I have a strong feeling that those 25 to 32 banks, they need to be reined in. And if you want to be in the system and have transparency where the money's coming and going, comes back to that blockchain system. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys see that there's lots of different things that come out in the next this year. Specifically about what we've learned already about transparency. You saw that the crime of the century is just growing. It was like, wow, and now it's even getting bigger, and it's got tentacles. And so, you know, I think it's time for these guys to play by the rules. So, in last, almost done here. The bank structuring decisions are precursor to comprehensive banking economic reform. So, of course, what are they doing? The economic financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Mohammed Saleh, is considered the decisions to restructure government banks. We've known about this for a long time, but now they're saying it's a prelude to comprehensive economic reforms. And what are they doing? They're contracting with Ernst & Young for what? To restructure Rashid banks and when? Within 6 months. When did this come out? This came out in January. Okay, so it's mid-April. I said within 6 months. You can see that these guys, that's not to say that we are waiting for anything like that, but just know that that January comment to me is not the smoke off, because they've been working on this for a lot longer than that. I mean, I would say more than a decade. So, but be careful, because hey, they said within 6 months, and here we are, less than 45 days of being at 6 months. And with what we're seeing and what we're talking about tonight, I think you probably can get the gist of the picture. It says that Sudanese visit will activate 11 items in the Strategic Framework Agreement, one of which is security. So we already know that the security issue is basically taken care of. It's going to an advisory situation. They suggest activating 11 items in the Strategic Framework Agreement during the Prime Minister's visit to Washington. The main purpose of it is what? To activate the Strategic Framework Agreement, again, which includes 11 sections, which includes security. But at the end of the day, the 11th hour or the 11th provision is, the final provisions of the SFA agreement are on the table. And so, look, they're just going to reiterate it, or I would say that they would adjust it. and make it to the point where it's a evolutionary document. And so the security is set, the economic aspect is underway, and we're going to watch Al-Sudani finish up his hopefully signing of contracts. When he comes home, he's probably going to talk to his people. He's already done that and started to do that here in the United States. And I can't imagine anyone thinking that, how are you going to fund all this with an exchange rate of 1,310 IQD to the USD? And how is it that you've said that the Iraqi dinar, Mr. Al-Sudani, is stronger than the dollar? How is that? I think that's what they're going to say. That's what I'm asking you too, sir. Anyway, enjoy. Thank you for being with us. If you like my content, please hit that like button. And by all means, if we want to keep this content going from now and into the future, please do so. We have Zelle, Venmo, and PayPal. Thank you so much for all that you do. And everyone that has donated, by the way, you guys, it's amazing. Samson, Gigi, everybody in the crew, appreciate it. Once again, guys, don't forget to hit that like button if you like this content. Subscribe to the channel or join us at the Militia Man and Crew Patreon community for even more exclusive content. You can also donate to this channel by hitting the links in the banner to help keep this page up and running. Your generous support is greatly appreciated, as always. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much and have a great day.